to a minimum. They are being filmed, so the background noise kind of picks up. But we're having everyone can direct their attention over here. We can learn a little bit more about PAWS with a CAUSE. Thank you.
I tend to try not to use a microphone for amplification because it confuses her. My voice coming from another direction. She doesn't know how to respond. So thanks for that. My name is Liz Smith-Yeats. I am a volunteer with PAWS with a CAUSE. I've been a volunteer for about 14 years now. This is Riley. She is will be 4 in October. She is a half lab, half golden licensed assistance dog. She's what we call a demonstration dog. That means she's a professional show-off, and she gets to come and meet with nice folks like you. So what I'd like to do today is give you a little bit of history, a little background on assistance dogs in general, get a little more specific about what we call the different flavors of assistance dogs, the different jobs that they do, and then I'll conclude with what Riley's job is and have her show you a little bit about what she does. We can do questions along the way if we need to, or we can do that at the end, however that seems to take us. I think we can all be dynamic together. So the idea of dogs helping people is not a new thing. It actually came to this country from Europe in the late teens, 1918, 1920, in the last century after World War I. And that happened because soldiers coming home from World War I had been exposed to poison gas and had been blinded. And so the concept of dogs guiding people who were sightless or had visual impairments, that idea came home from Europe with these wounded soldiers. That went on for a long time in this country. But here's the thing, among people with disabilities, 3% of them are blind. So you had 97% of the disabled population not being reached by dogs that could help people. So around 1979, the founder of our organization, a fellow named Mike Sapp, he had some friends. He was a part-time dog trainer and a full-time truck driver. And he had some friends who were both deaf, and those friends asked him if he could help train their dog to respond to sounds in their environment. He thought, hadn't thought about that before, let's give that a go. So we started working with the dog, started training the dog. Now I talk to a lot of 3rd and 4th graders, and this is about the time where people say, well, my dog tells me there's somebody at the front door. How does that happen, right? We needed a different way for the dog to alert, because barking, if I can't hear that, is not communication. So Mike started working with the dog, having the dog come, tap the person on the leg, either with a foot or with a nose, and that meant the dog is saying, come with me. The dog would take the person to the crying baby, to the front door, to the stove where the buzzer's going off, to whatever type of alarm or signal was happening, with one exception. What's the sound we don't want to go to? We want to go away. Fire, exactly. So in the case of a fire alarm, we want the dogs to take the person out. I actually got to see that live in action. I was at a lunch at the Renaissance Center some years ago. There were 1,000 people in the Ambassador Ballroom, and they decided it was a good day to test the fire alarms. We had a person there, my friend Jane, and she had a hearing dog, and he wanted her out. He said, Mom, we gotta go. Pretty soon he said, Mom, we gotta go. And pretty soon he was in her lap. Mom, we gotta go. She said, you know what, I gotta go. Because we can't tell the dog this is practice, right? They don't understand exceptions. So Mike started working with that dog and started to get some really nice results. And maybe 6 or 8 weeks into that process, he turned up for his weekly appointment with this couple, and there were 2 more people on the couch. And they were deaf, and they had a dog, and would he help them? I like to call this the magic couch. Every couple of months, Mike would show up, there'd be new people on the couch, and from that experience, became an organization which we were first called was Ears for the Deaf. Okay, so now we've taken dogs from helping people who have visual disabilities, now we have hearing disabilities, but we're still not over the finish line on it. We're still in a pretty narrow lane. So very quickly, the concept really expanded. What else can we do? And that's when the whole concept of assistance dogs doing more stuff really came into being. So to this day, this is 40 plus years later, we place between 1 and 200 teams each year. We have certified in our history about 5,000 teams now, certified or recertified. We do hearing dogs, of course, we will always do hearing dogs. We do assistance dogs or service dogs, which are the bread and butter of what Riley does. We do dogs for kids with autism, and we do seizure response dogs. So a seizure response dog would respond to somebody in the way that they needed to be responded to, so we custom train every dog. For one person, that might be to get help, get another person in the household. It might be to hit an emergency buzzer that calls EMS. It might be, in one case we had an individual whose arms would curl up and she would hurt herself when she had a seizure, so that dog's job, all 65 pounds of her, was to lay and pin her to the ground until it had subsided. Sometimes it's bring a phone after the experience so that that person can then call, once they're able, they can call for help. So seizure dogs, dogs for kids with autism, that's become a huge safety thing. Kids with autism, it's a spectrum, it's a very broad spectrum. We serve a portion of that spectrum with some very specific needs. There's ways we can help and there's ways that we can't. But one of the features of some children with autism is that they're runners. And so they dart out. And no amount of, Johnny, stop, come back, that doesn't reach that child's ears and brain. So we call it a dog sandwich. The adult is always in the control position with the dog. The child is in the outboard side of the dog. We put a leash in mom's hand, mom or dad's hand. We put a leash in the child's hand, which is really a bracelet with a soft bungee. And what that does is a soft retrieve on the child. The child darts out, the arm goes back. The child will turn and look, see the dog, and return. So now, mom or dad in public, at a grocery store, in a parking lot, much safer because the child's not running out. So, service dogs. Hi. She says, I've heard the talking part before, Mom. Service dogs are designed, the biggest part of the job is to get stuff. They get stuff. It's because of their last name, they are all retrievers. They're really good at getting stuff. Simple concept, a lot of downstream meanings. So if I drop my pen, hi, will you get this for me? Take it. Girl. She can pick that up. Now that's handy. Most of us look like we could get our own pens off the floor. But if I'm seated full time and my legs aren't strong, my risk if I reach to get my pen is that I take a tumble, which on a good day is unpleasant, and on a bad day I can hurt myself, hit my head, what have you. Because these are the muscles that help us sit back up and keep us from falling forward. So safety is at the core of everything that we do. She can get my keys. Thank you. So that's handy, a little wet. Handy. But imagine I'm driving one of these vans and I use a wheelchair full time. And I get home and I roll down my ramp and I roll up the ramp to my front door, and it's not this lovely September day, but it's January, and I drop my keys in the snow. Now I have a problem. I'm really good at locking my car, I can't get back in the car. I'm really good at locking my house, I can't get in the house. On a good day, I usually have my cell phone with me. How long is that going to take and how cold is it? So it's handy that she can get my pen and save save me from a tumble, but I can freeze to death on my front porch if I can't get my keys. So it's all about safety. All of our dogs have their own phones. This one's very old. It's a demonstration phone, right? We put a strap on him, not because she can't pick it up without the strap, but because it keeps the dog slime off my face. So that's kind of handy. She will do what's called a blind retrieve on this phone, meaning this phone better be where it belongs in my house, and from wherever I am, I can ask her to get it, even if she can't see it in the moment that I ask her to get it. We don't have a special place here. So we're just gonna pick something. Let's see, let's try this. Hi, can you get your phone for me? Did you see where I put it? Hey, it's over here. You weren't looking. Maybe take two on it. It's a phone. Thank you. That was medium impressive. Come here. Sit. Watch me. Let it out the bad tape. Go. Get your phone. That is not the phone. Right. All right. All right. They can do doors. I can put this strap through my refrigerator door. She can break that seal on the refrigerator. Do a doorknob, we would drill a hole in a levered doorknob so that she can pull it and open it or close it. I need them to be able to pick up things that are safe for her to pick up. So pill bottle, lid firmly attached, that's safe for her to pick up. It presently has dog cookies in it, but don't tell. Thank you. It's very slimy. One more time. Okay. But I also need to be able to ask her not to pick up things that are not safe for her to pick up. Back here. Let's see if we can get this. Sit, please. Leave it. These are dog treats. Wow, on this floor I can't even see them. Good girl. So she never gets food from the floor. In my kitchen at home, never from the floor. Anything that hits the floor is off limits. Because it's the way that I can keep her safe. If I drop the pill, not the pill bottle, it's not safe. There's all kinds of people food that's not safe for dogs, onions, raisins, grapes, all kinds of things that happen in my kitchen that she shouldn't be eating, and maybe foods I don't even know that aren't good for her. So we're very careful about that. We ask them to do clothes, to help with clothes, off mostly, not on, because no thumbs. But if I can't reach my feet, I need help. Shoes untied, shoe off, sock off, pull a pant leg, pull a sleeve, pull a jacket. So the way we show folks how that works, good girl. One more time. This is your favorite. Good girl. So when we first learned that, we did, we did it this way. But now I can have all my fingers in there, and she can feel my finger and not. Thank you. Wait. From a legal aspect, Riley is no different than any of this. The law considers her to be medical equipment. So anywhere that I may go, she may go. It's my responsibility to never take her any place that's not safe, so I would take her to the zoo, but I wouldn't take her inside the kangaroo thing because I don't know how the kangaroos are going to behave. But anywhere in public that I am allowed, she is allowed. What I tell my third grade class is, I wear eyeglasses. I've never seen a sign that said no eyeglasses allowed. So As far as the law is concerned, she's medical equipment. We also ask folks, and I have to give like A++++ pluses to all of you. Nobody came over to her while we were mingling at the beginning and visiting. You'll see that there is a sign on her that says, "Please don't pet me, I'm working." And that is a huge, huge thing for us. She would love to meet everybody she meets. But if she becomes habituated to the idea that everyone's going to reach out to her and she should say hello to everyone, it takes her off her job. And the other part of it is that you don't always understand what the job is that the dog is doing. My favorite way to illustrate this is we had a friend who had Parkinson's. She had a dog, and one of the features of her Parkinson's was that her foot would get glued to the floor. It was like she stepped in super glue. What was really happening is that the message to the brain, which all day long is saying to us left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Every once in a while that message would be sent and not received. So the message said to the brain left foot forward, message not received, but the brain believes the foot's out here. Ever go down a flight of stairs into the basement with the lights out and think you're at the bottom? And there's one more step? It's terrifying, right? Brain believes there's floor. So if her brain believes her foot is forward, she can go down like a tree if it's still back here. The way for her to fix that is to touch her foot. Brain says, "Oh, wait a minute, foot's back here. Let's get it going up here." What's her dog's job? Step on her foot. If you saw her in the mall, you wouldn't think much about it, about the way she walks. You would think her dog is really clumsy. What is the matter with that dog? He just keeps stepping on her feet. That can't be a good idea. So I tell you that to tell you this. You don't necessarily understand the job that the dog is doing by observing. You are more than welcome to visit with folks who have dogs. Please talk to them, not the dog. Please don't ask to touch the dog. Most folks will tell you no. They are with their people 24/7. I promise you they are cherished. Most of our pets see us 4 to 5 hours awake a day. So I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want to have any questions, I'd be happy to do that, or whatever we want to do next. Yeah.
I have no questions.
Sure.
One, you said she knows not to get the food off the floor, but how does she differentiate between what was food and what was not?
Generally, they're not interested in things that aren't food, so it's a nose thing. So they're kind of okay there. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, anything that hits my kitchen floor is not for her. So.
Well, what if you drop your keys in the kitchen?
I have to ask. Right. Okay. Aha. I have to ask her. I would ask her. When we do this here, she will anticipate me. I should actually ask her to wait. She will anticipate me because we've done this before. But in general, she won't pick up things without being asked.
Okay.
You said you had a couple of questions.
Oh, yeah. So my other question is, so let's say somebody wants an assistance dog, what would be the process of the cause to apply for one?
Perfect. So the way that somebody would go about applying for assistance dog, we have our website, pawswithacause.org. I believe there is open enrollment twice a year, and that, as to when that happens, you can find that out on the website. It is a process that involves some paperwork and some corroboration with medical so that we understand the disability and we understand that how we can help with the specific disability. Once everybody is in agreement that we can help and that is something we can make a good match with, then you sort of go into the queue. The queue can be long, can be a couple of years in the waiting, and at the other end, hopefully, is a good match. Our clients do not pay for their dogs. We are completely privately funded by donations, corporations, organizations, we get no government money. Veterans Administration is fabulous fabulous with guide dogs for the blind, better and better every day on service dogs, but provide no dollars for either of those things. Yeah.
Where do the dogs come from?
Oh, where do the dogs come from? We make our own. We have mom dogs and dad dogs that live with people, and we make our own for the most part.
You breed your own.
We do. And the reason for that is that we look at 5 to 7 generations of hips, knees, elbows, and heart, and we're looking for the most solid set of genetics that we can possibly work with. Obviously, that doesn't always work, but we get a better number if we breed our own. Breeders will donate either singleton puppies to us or stud service to us, so that's how we keep the diversity in the gene pool. But for the most part, we do our own. In our very early days, we were looking at shelter animals, which is a great thing to do, but for us, the numbers aren't in it.
Do you know if you become maybe from leader dog or?
That's a really great question because we are good friends with leader dog, and a dog that makes a good leader dog does not make a good guide assistance dog, and vice versa.
Yes. Cool.
It's a personality thing. A leader dog has to be willing to tell you no. It's called intelligent disobedience. They need to tell you no. You've asked me to cross the street. It's not safe to cross the street. No. Our dogs must always tell you yes. And we rely on the handler to not be asking them to do something unsafe. So we do swap dogs with leader dog because of that, when we have a dog that's better suited for the opposite job. Yeah.
Are they basically all labs?
Labs, Goldens, and she's half and half. For the most part, that's what we use. A lab, with the 50-50s, we get the willingness of the Golden and the confidence of the lab in a nice little stew. So that works well for us. We use, purebred labs, purebred Goldens as well. For us, it's because of their last name. They're retrievers. That's what they like. We don't use shepherds. Shepherds make nice guide dogs if you can get them in this country, because shepherds, sadly, the genetics are pretty compromised. Shepherds are good at telling you what to do, so they make really good guide dogs. Yeah.
And then, so how long do you work with a dog before you deem him like capable to do it?
Right. They start, this is my last dog, the day I met him. They start when they're 6, he was 6 weeks and 3 days old. This is serious. He was the size of a 5-pound sack of flour. We start them this early. This is the first thing he learned to do on his first day. Sit. And they live with a family for about a year. They go out in public, they do basic obedience, take classes every week, learn preschool stuff. We are then doing a really cool program with the Michigan prison system. We send them to finishing school in the prison system. And it has been a hugely successful program for us. We get the discipline, we got folks with time on their hands, and a real nice feature is that for the inmate themselves, they really get a lot out of it. So they're there for 3 or 4 months, then they come to our training headquarters south of Grand Rapids. They're there for 6 to 8 months, depending on the job and what we're teaching them to do. So they're about 2 by the time they're licensed and certified to work with their client. That's the thing about dogs, they don't live as long as we do. So we try and, from the time they're 2, you've got an 8 to 10 year window that they can work with us.
And do you retire your dog? How does that process?
Our dogs will age out, and either due to health or simple age, will be retired. We transfer ownership of the dog at the time we license the dog for the first time. And so that dog belongs to that individual. If at the end of that dog's tour of duty, if you will, that person is unable to keep the dog, it usually goes to a family member like maybe they're getting a new dog, and so a family member will take that dog. I've been fortunate enough in 3 instances to have a dog in retirement just because of circumstance that the person couldn't keep them. And if it turns out that that person has no opportunity to rehome the dog, they always have a home with us. They can come back and we'll find, they'd probably call me maybe. So our clients we promise them services for life. So the successor dog, we will work with them with the successor dog. We recertify every 18 months to be sure that the dog and the person are still working together in a safe manner. And maybe we need to add a skill or two to the dog as the person's needs have changed. We had one individual I know, she didn't need the dog to open a sliding door wall in the house, and then a year and a half later she did, because her strength had changed. So then we added that feature. Well, I want to thank you guys for having us over, and pardon her back. She was thrilled to see you all.
I'm Pam Clark with About People, and I'm here at Creative Mobility Group for their open house. And with me is Liz from PAWS with a Cause and her friend Riley. Liz, thank you for talking to me today.
Well, thanks for coming out to see us. We appreciate it.
I think it's just such a great thing that you guys do. It takes so much time and effort to train dogs, and also it takes a little bit of education for people to understand why, no matter how adorable they are, don't come up and pet the dog.
That's a good place to start, because they are adorable. You can see Riley here at our feet, and they are adorable, and folks love to meet them. But it is like if I were to walk up to you and meet you for the first time and take your eyeglasses right off your face and say, "Oh, can I try those on?" The law considers them medical equipment, and so we ask folks not to interact with the dog so that the dog can do their best job for the person they're with.
The best thing to do is talk to the person.
Always the best thing to do, right? Right. And learn more about the dog, but through the person. Absolutely.
Right. And you say they are trained to do a variety of things individually for certain people, for certain tasks.
Yes. We custom train all of our dogs. So once we match them with the person based on skills, personality, what that person needs, then we custom train the dog to that individual. So that if there's a skill that person doesn't need yet, we don't need to layer that on. We want to be sure that the dog is exactly what they need to be.
And how long does that training take? I'm sure it probably varies with what they have to learn and the individual dog.
Exactly. The dogs are about 2 by the time they're officially finished and ready to be working full time. They start obviously as puppies. They're raised by a family for about a year. We have a prison program that is a finishing school for us that does some very beautiful obedience work for us. And then they go to our professional trainers south of Grand Rapids in our training campus there, so that our professional trainers can teach them their job skills. And that's where we start custom training them to do the thing that their ultimate forever person will need.
I think that's a wonderful thing that you do. Now, if the person's needs change, maybe if they have a progressive disease, do they add training onto the animal they already have?
Absolutely. We recertify a team every 18 months or so, and when we go out and recertify, we're making sure that the team is still working together well. Does the dog need any skills polished up? Has the person's needs changed in any way so that we need to add an additional feature?
That's great. Are you just in Michigan?
Oh, our training campus is south of Grand Rapids. We do have an office here. As we sit today, we're in southeast Michigan. We have an office here to help with training puppies, as well as to work with clients who happen to be in southeast Michigan. But we will actually place dogs anywhere in the country.
Wow.
I don't know if we're in Alaska and Hawaii. That might be a stretch. But we do place dogs. We will identify trainers in the area and train them in our specific skills. We call them field instructors so that they can work with the client in their own environment.
That sounds great. And how long has this group been in existence?
We started about 1979 and really started with dogs helping people who had hearing disabilities. Everybody understood about guide dogs leading folks who had visual impairment or were blind, but our founder, Mike Sapp, he really pioneered the idea of training a dog to help somebody with hearing disabilities. And so from the hearing thing, then we moved into other disabilities and really started to figure out all of the ways that we could use a dog to help somebody.
I think that's great. I'm so happy that you took the time to talk to me. Riley's just gorgeous.
She is pretty. We try not to tell her because it goes to her head. But I'm very lucky to have her with me. Riley is what we call a demonstration dog. She's a professional show-off, so she is trained to do the job, and she can meet with nice folks like you and show people the job that her friends can do for folks with disabilities.
Okay, now let me bring up one touchy subject.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is something that really bothers me. I have seen people try to take their little Chihuahua, poodle, whatever, into the store just because they want to take them with them and try to claim that they're service dogs. That's so wrong on so many levels.
It really is. It is a very difficult situation right now because, as you say, folks are taking liberties. Folks are doing things that they shouldn't be, claiming that they're service dogs, and the law is unfortunately somewhat vague. And so what I will say about a service dog that has been trained, the definition of a service dog is a dog that does tasks. They must do skills, physical tasks for their person. Simply hanging around or being social support, which is a valuable asset to the person, is not a task. And unfortunately, these dogs that folks bring in are often not behaved in such a way that reflects well.
No, I've seen that.
So a properly trained dog, whether it's trained by an organization such as ours or whether it's trained by a private trainer, which is perfectly legal, will distinguish itself by its behavior. If the dog is properly behaved and on task and doing the job, then you know probably okay.
The dog is running around jumping on people?
Not so much. I appreciate you asking. It's a very difficult issue because it makes it harder for the folks who have legitimate service dogs because now people are looking at them askance and worried that the dog is going to be a problem.
To me, that's like people that take handicapped parking spots. Well, I'm just going to be there for a minute.
Right.
And no, it's not right. It's wrong on so many levels.
Right.
And you're taking advantage and portraying yourself as having a service dog, which throws dirt on the reputation of service dogs, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And if you're a store owner, a restaurant owner, and you've had a bad experience with a dog that was ill-behaved, it makes you concerned about admitting other dogs because you don't know what you're going to get. So
Exactly.
it's a difficult problem for folks right now.
For people that have the service dogs, it makes it difficult for them. Can I go to this restaurant?
Right.
Are they going to be okay?
Exactly.
How long have you been working with PAWS with a Cause?
I have been volunteering since the first dog. I raised a puppy. Her name was Fawn. She just died last year. She was 14 years old. So
That's pretty old for a dog.
Yeah, pretty old for a dog. And she worked as a demonstration dog. That ended up being her career for a nice lady in Pennsylvania. And then retired from that job and died at 14 and a half, I think she was. So that's how I know how long I've been volunteering, because that was the first dog, 14 and a half. Yeah, she did.
Well, Liz, thank you again for talking to me. And if people want more information about PAWS with a Cause, you're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook or the website, which is pawswithacause.org.
Sounds great.
Thanks.
Thank you.